Can you stop this man?
Of course. He's like this big.
Pacquiao's a little fighter, so it's a big fight against a little guy.
I believe after I hit him and the fight's over, he's going to go backstage and God will have that conversation.
The night of July 20th, 2019, was electric in Las Vegas. At 40 years old, Manny Pacquiao, an 8-division world champion and living legend, stepped into the ring to face the undefeated Keith, one-time Thurman, the reigning WBA welterweight champion. It was a battle of generations, the veteran icon versus the hungry prime champion. Inside the MGM Grand Garden Arena, chants of "Manny! Manny!" shook the rafters as both men made their walkouts. This was more than a title fight, it was a collision of eras. Round 1, the flash knockdown. Pacquiao opened fast, bouncing on his toes, darting in with blistering combinations and sharp angles. Thurman tried to set distance behind a stiff jab, but Manny's footwork made him miss and reset. Midway through, Pacquiao landed a clean left straight, slipped a counter, and ripped a hook to the body. Keith circled right, searching for rhythm, yet Manny kept layering feints and bursts that disrupted timing. With 30 seconds left, Pacquiao exploded forward, a short right hook, then a perfect straight left down the middle. Thurman's head snapped back and he crashed to the canvas. The arena erupted as he sprang up wide-eyed, trying to wave it off. Pacquiao flurried until the bell, a statement opener that rattled the champion's confidence. Round 2. Thurman came out cautious, pumping his jab and circling to keep Manny at range. Pacquiao slipped inside with head movement, tapped the ribs, and pivoted out before counters arrived. Keith found a home for a couple of jabs, but Manny answered with a sharp 3-punch flurry and a stinging left. Pacquiao's precision and speed kept Thurman guessing from beat to beat. Round 3. Thurman began to settle, planting his feet and firing a crisp straight right that snapped Manny's head back. Pacquiao responded with a 6-punch burst, mixing head and body. The exchanges grew tactical. Keith relied on timing and leverage, while Manny leaned on volume and angles. Both men had moments as the crowd rose with each trade. The fight's pulse quickened. Round 4. Pacquiao committed to the body, digging hooks that forced Thurman backward and lowered his guard. Keith countered with straight rights and an uppercut, landing clean but in single shots. In the final seconds they stood centering, traded heavy leather, and refused to blink. Manny's pace edged the round. Round 5. Thurman surged, walking Manny down and hammering the body before whipping a right cross upstairs. Pacquiao fired back in bursts, yet Keith dictated geography and tempo for long stretches. The bell capped a strong Thurman frame, momentum tightening. Round 6. Thurman doubled the jab and stepped in behind compact combinations, forcing Manny to circle. A sharp right midway through jolted Pacquiao and drew a gasp from the crowd. Manny regrouped, but Keith's rhythm and confidence were unmistakably rising. Tension climbed with every exchange as tactics and grit battled for control. Round 7. Pacquiao answered with urgency, slashing in at angles, ripping quick flurries, and finishing to the body. Thurman tried to time him with counters, but Manny's first step speed stole the exchanges. A late 10-punch salvo ignited the arena and swung momentum back toward the legend. Every small adjustment felt decisive, every miss punished by a quick reply. Round 8. Thurman adjusted with patience, stepping back to catch Manny on the way in. A beautifully timed right uppercut snapped Pacquiao's head, followed by a neat right cross. Manny marched forward, but Thurman's accuracy and composure took the round on quality connects. Both corners called for discipline, feet first, then hands, then finished the exchange. Round 9, the body shot that changed everything. Early, Pacquiao uncorked a vicious left hook to the body that landed perfectly under Thurman's ribcage. Keith's face twisted, his mouth opened, and his legs wobbled as he retreated in pain. Pacquiao smelled blood and swarmed. Lefts, rights, and uppercuts driving Thurman across the ring. The roar was deafening as Keith staggered to the ropes, nearly sinking as he clutched his guard low. Desperation set in. He clinched, circled, and bought seconds, but Manny kept drilling the midsection. Every thud echoed through the arena like a drumbeat. Thurman survived on will, yet he returned to the corners showing damage that no poker face could hide. Round 10. Thurman opened cautiously, using his legs to avoid pocket warfare while he reset his breathing. Pacquiao stalked with jabs and short hooks, forcing engagements along the ropes. Midway through, Keith dug deep and landed a massive right that froze Manny for a heartbeat. Pacquiao steadied and finished strong, answering with tidy combinations to head and body. 3 tense minutes, both men claiming moments. Feints and footwork wrote the rhythm while power punctuated the paragraphs of violence. Round 11. Fatigue draped both fighters, but neither yielded. Pacquiao pressed with volume, punches and bunches that demanded reactions. Thurman picked spots, firing single heavy counters that snapped Manny's head but came in low numbers. The exchanges were raw and loud. Pacquiao's work rate shaded it on the cards. Composure under fire separated moments from mistakes, inches from impact. Round 12, the final push. Everything narrowed to these last 3 minutes. Pacquiao used feints and small steps to create just enough space while scoring with sharp, accurate singles. Thurman, knowing the margin was thin, uncorked sweeping rights and looping hooks, chasing the shot that could flip the fight. In the final half-minute they planted their feet and traded at center ring, pride outweighing fatigue as the arena thundered. The bell ended a furious closing stretch. Both men exhaled and embraced. The crowd swelled with noise as momentum seesawed from second to second. Decision and aftermath. Scorecards read: 115-112 Pacquiao, 115-112 Thurman, 114-113 Pacquiao, a split decision for Manny Pacquiao. The building erupted as the 40-year-old legend handed an undefeated champion his first loss. Thurman earned respect for resilience and craft. Pacquiao added another chapter to an already mythic career. It wasn't just a title bout, it was a reminder of what endures: speed, will, and the refusal to fade. Legacy and final thoughts. In the days following the fight, boxing fans around the world couldn't stop talking about what they had witnessed. Pacquiao's victory was celebrated as proof that greatness has no expiration date. Reporters filled headlines with praise, calling Manny's performance a masterclass in strategy and heart. Thurman, humble but proud, promised to return stronger, and his gracious words earned him respect even in defeat. For many, this night wasn't just about titles or rankings. It was about witnessing a living legend defy time, inspiring millions with his courage and skill. Years from now, fans will still speak of July 20th, 2019, as the night Pacquiao reminded the world why boxing is called the sweet science.
Fuck Pacquiao. Pacquiao, fuck Bob Arrow, man, bum.
Wow.
Lame.
Wow.
What I'ma do to him? Spray him down. Ooh, I'm gonna wipe him down, man. Look Boosie, man. I'm wipe.
January 19th, 2019, MGM Grand Garden Arena, Las Vegas, Nevada. On January 19th, 2019, Las Vegas was buzzing with anticipation as boxing fans from around the world gathered at the MGM Grand Garden Arena. The venue, legendary for hosting countless historic fights, was filled to capacity. Flags from the Philippines and the United States waved proudly, while chants of "Manny! Manny!" echoed through the arena. The atmosphere was electric, a perfect setting for a clash between two fighters at very different stages of their careers. Manny Pacquiao, an 8-division world champion and one of boxing's most beloved figures, was entering the ring at 40 years old. He was defending his WBA welterweight title, eager to prove that age had not diminished his speed or power. Across from him stood Adrian, the problem, Broner, a flashy and controversial fighter who had won titles in 4 different weight divisions. For Broner, this was more than just a title shot. It was his chance to redeem himself and prove that he belonged among the elite. The build-up to the fight had been dramatic. Broner spent weeks mocking Pacquiao, dismissing him as an aging fighter who couldn't keep up with a younger, fresher opponent. Pacquiao, calm and composed, never engaged in the verbal warfare. He focused on his training, promising his fans that he would let his performance speak for itself. As both men made their way to the ring, the noise was deafening. Broner danced confidently during his entrance, while Pacquiao walked with quiet determination, his face showing the focus of a man who had been here countless times before. Round 1, cautious start. The opening bell rang, and both fighters began carefully, each trying to read the other's timing. Pacquiao bounced on his toes, feinting and throwing quick jabs, looking for early openings. Broner circled the ring, keeping his distance and relying on his shoulder roll defense. The round was more about strategy than action, with neither man taking big risks. The crowd watched intently, waiting for the fireworks to begin. Round 2, Pacquiao presses forward. In the second round, Pacquiao began to take control. His footwork allowed him to dart in and out of range, closing the distance before Broner could react. A sharp straight left snapped Broner's head back, sending the crowd into a frenzy. Broner stayed defensive, throwing very few punches as Pacquiao cornered him late in the round and unleashed a rapid flurry. Broner clinched to avoid damage, but Pacquiao's aggression was starting to set the tone. Round 3, Broner's counterpunch. Broner showed signs of life in the third round. Timing one of Pacquiao's forward rushes perfectly, he landed a clean counter right hand, his best shot so far. For a brief moment, Pacquiao paused, and Broner tried to follow up, but Manny's relentless pace quickly returned. He answered with combinations to the body and head, forcing Broner to retreat. The exchange energized the crowd, who roared as both men landed clean punches. Round 4, relentless aggression. Pacquiao increased the pressure, cutting off the ring and trapping Broner against the ropes. His combinations came from every angle, lightning-fast jabs, hooks, and straight lefts. Broner blocked some punches, but many slipped through his defense. The challenger's counters were too sporadic to keep Pacquiao at bay. By the end of the round, Broner's frustration was visible as Manny's pace showed no signs of slowing. Round 5, tactical adjustments. Broner focused on movement, trying to frustrate Pacquiao with slick defense and counters. At times, Pacquiao missed with wild combinations, giving Broner brief opportunities to land clean counters. However, Broner's lack of consistent offense left him vulnerable. Pacquiao's ring control and aggression kept him ahead, while the crowd grew restless with Broner's low activity. Round 6, Pacquiao's speed on display. Pacquiao's hand speed became the defining factor of the round. He exploded with dazzling flurries, throwing 5 and 6 punches at a time. Broner landed a couple of sharp counters, but Pacquiao's volume overwhelmed him. Midway through the round, Manny connected with a brilliant combination that drew a thunderous reaction from the audience. Broner retreated, shaking his head, clearly frustrated and unable to mount a sustained attack. Round 7, Broner in trouble. Early in the 7th round, Pacquiao landed a huge straight left followed by a right hook that staggered Broner. The challenger stumbled backward as Manny pounced, swarming him with a barrage of punches. Broner clung to survival, grabbing and moving desperately to stay upright. The arena erupted as Pacquiao came close to scoring a knockout. Broner managed to survive, but the damage was clear, and his confidence seemed to fade. Round 8, complete control. Pacquiao kept the pressure high in the 8th round. Broner spent most of the 3 minutes retreating, throwing almost nothing in return. Manny mixed his attacks beautifully, targeting both the body and head. A powerful left hand staggered Broner again, nearly sending him to the canvas. The crowd chanted Pacquiao's name as the champion dominated completely, while Broner's corner shouted at him to fight back. Round 9, Broner's final push. Knowing he was far behind, Broner tried to rally in the 9th round. He threw more punches and landed a few sharp counters that briefly slowed Pacquiao's attack. For a moment, it looked like Broner might turn the tide, but Manny quickly regained control, responding with his own flurries. Broner's burst of offense was too short-lived to make a real difference. Round 10, Manny's mastery. Pacquiao dictated every exchange, attacking from angles Broner couldn't anticipate. The challenger stayed defensive, while the crowd booed his lack of aggression. Pacquiao's energy seemed endless, and his accuracy remained sharp. By this point, it was clear Broner needed a knockout to win, but he showed no willingness to take the risks required. Round 11, closing strong. Pacquiao pressed forward even harder, trapping Broner against the ropes and unleashing rapid-fire combinations. Broner, battered and exhausted, did just enough to stay on his feet. Though Manny didn't score a knockdown, his dominance was complete, leaving no doubt about the outcome as the fight neared its end. Round 12, the final bell. In the last round, Pacquiao stayed smart, avoiding reckless exchanges while continuing to land clean punches. Broner, in desperation, swung wildly, but Pacquiao easily dodged most of his shots and countered precisely. As the final bell rang, the fighters embraced briefly, acknowledging each other's efforts. The crowd erupted, celebrating a legendary performance from Pacquiao. Aftermath. The arena buzzed as the judges' scores were tallied. When the announcement came, there was no surprise. Manny Pacquiao won by unanimous decision. The scorecards were wide, reflecting the champion's dominance. The crowd roared as Manny raised his hands, smiling humbly and thanking his fans. In 2004, one question shook boxing: what happens when raw chaos meets pure technique? Manny Pacquiao had just fought with Mexican legend Marco Antonio Barrera and wanted to see every Mexican great on his way. "I knew Marquez was one of the best featherweights. I trained harder than ever for that fight," says Pacquiao. 3 knockdowns in round 1. But this was only the beginning of a war that would change both their careers forever. Before they shared 12 brutal rounds, Manny Pacquiao and Juan Manuel Marquez walked 2 very different roads to the same ring in Las Vegas. Manny Pacquiao was born in deep poverty in the Philippines. As a kid, he sold bread and donuts on the streets, dropped out of school around 14, and moved alone to Manila just to survive. He slept where he could, worked odd jobs, and fought because it was the only thing that could feed his family. By 16, he was a professional. At 19, he shocked Thailand by knocking out Chache Sasikal to win the WBC flyweight title, his first world championship. Then he jumped up in weight, smashed Lelehanalo Lebuba for the IBF Super Bantamweight belt. In November 2003, Pacquiao moved up again to face Mexican legend Marco Antonio Barrera, the lineal and ring featherweight champion. Almost nobody expected the skinny Filipino southpaw to dominate, but he beat Barrera down, dropped him twice and stopped him in round 11. Overnight, Pacquiao became the ring featherweight champion and the new nightmare of Mexican boxing. On the other side was Juan Manuel Dinamita Marquez from Mexico City. He grew up in a tough neighborhood in Iztacalco, started boxing as a kid with his father in the gym, and built himself into a cold, technical counterpuncher with one of the best right hands in the sport. For years, Marquez was called the best fighter without a world title. He was the mandatory challenger for Nassim Haim for almost 2 years, but the big fight never came. While other stars got the spotlight, Marquez kept working as an accountant by day and training with legendary coach Ignacio Beristain at night, waiting for his chance. That chance finally arrived in 2003. Marquez beat Manuel Medina to win the vacant IBF featherweight title, then unified by stopping Derek Gainer to add the WBA belt. He entered 2004 as the unified featherweight champion of the world.
Juan Manuel Marquez.
Same weight, same night, same purse, different missions. On May 8, 2004, at the MGM Grand in Las Vegas, the unified WBA and IBF titles and the ring featherweight crown all came to the same ring, and 2 men walked in determined to leave as the featherweight king. When this fight ended in a draw, the 2 still wanted to decide who was stronger and met again. Round 1. The bell rings, and it feels less like a new fight and more like round 13 of a story that started in 2004. Pacquiao, now bigger and more muscular at 130, bounces on his toes, testing the distance with quick jabs and feints. Marquez stands calm, high guard, trying to draw Manny in and make him reach. For the first minute, it's a chess match. Little shots to the body, nothing huge. Pacquiao probes with a left downstairs. Marquez answers with a sharp right upstairs that snaps Manny's head just a bit and wakes the crowd up. They clash heads briefly, both men reset. Perfect counter left right through the gap. It detonates on Marquez's chin and sends him crashing to the canvas. The crowd explodes. Marquez gets up, shaken badly, maybe more hurt than in any knockdown from the first fight. Round 4. In round 4, Pacquiao tries to build on the knockdown. He's bouncing, aggressive, searching for another opening for that left hand. Marquez, still a bit shaky at first, uses all his experience to kill Manny's momentum, clinching when he needs to, moving his feet, jabbing to the body. Pacquiao, though, is the one dictating most of the action. He makes Marquez spends the first half of the round studying, then starts to answer with sharp right hands that catch Manny clean. One right snaps Pacquiao's head, another lands late, as if Marquez is trying to steal the round in the final minute. Manny clips him with a left, but the more eye-catching, precise work in this frame belongs to Marquez. He doesn't dominate, but he does just enough with those crisp rights to nudge the round his way and start closing the gap. Round 6. In the 6th, the fight swings again. Marquez goes to work on the body and head with a surgeon's touch. He lands a good right hand over a crouching Pacquiao, then follows with a left uppercut. Round 7. Round 7 turns into tense, tactical warfare. Both men know the fight is close. Pacquiao presses, trying to re-establish control. Marquez looks to keep things at medium range, where his counters can speak. They clash heads yet again, and this time Marquez comes away with a cut near his right eye. Blood adds another layer of danger, but it doesn't stop him. Moments later, Pacquiao lands a wicked right hook that stings Marquez and ignites a furious exchange. Manny scores with lefts at close range, but Marquez fires back with his own right hands, refusing to be overwhelmed. It's the kind of round where both guys have their moments, but Pacquiao's cleaner bursts and that eye-catching right hook give him a narrow edge. The fight remains a razor blade. Every round could be the difference. Round 8. In the 8th, the cut game flips. Marquez finds Pacquiao with a series of sharp right hands and hooks, and suddenly Manny is bleeding badly around his right eye. The blood streams down, visibly bothering him as he blinks and brushes at it. Sensing an opportunity, Marquez jabs at the damaged side, trying to worsen the cut, then rips combinations to the body and head. The Mexican crowd can feel the shift and roars with every round. He also wins a new weapon. Pacquiao's eye is now a target. Round 9. Round 9 is pure tension. Pacquiao knows the cut and the momentum are dangerous. He comes out looking to change the story, and about a minute in he cracks Marquez with a wicked right that reminds everyone he's still the puncher in this ring. Marquez fires back with a straight right of his own. Manny answers with a straight left. They trade, each man landing, each man refusing to be bullied. Pacquiao swings and misses big with a left, but then follows with a short right hook that lands clean. Marquez does action briefly so the doctor can look at a new cut on Marquez's eyelid. When they resume, both fighters know the margins are tiny. They exchange counters, right from Marquez, left from Pacquiao, in a round that could go either way. Manny's slightly sharper late surge is just enough to shade it in his favor on many cards, but nothing about this feels safe. Round 10. Round 10, and Pacquiao dials up the danger. He lands a big left hand that staggers Marquez and immediately pounces, trying to finish what he started. The crowd explodes, smelling a possible knockdown or even a stoppage. Marquez, though, refuses to fall. He backs up, buys himself a few seconds, and fights through the fog. Pacquiao chases with another heavy left, pushing the pace as "Manny!" chants pour down from the stands. But as the round wears on, Manny's mouthpiece flies out in the chaos, adding to the drama as the referee briefly intervenes. They close the round trading, Pacquiao with more lefts, Marquez with more rights. But the early damage from Manny's big left hands leaves the stronger impression. It's a wild, momentum-swinging 3 minutes that likely edges to Pacquiao. Round 11. By round 11, both men are cut, tired, and fully aware that the fight is hanging by a thread. Marquez strays low again with a body shot, giving Pacquiao a brief pause and a few extra seconds of rest. Then they're back to it, Marquez stalking with straight rights to the head and hooks to the body, Pacquiao looking to answer with that left whenever he can find space. It's not a round 12. Final round. 12 out of 12. Everything they've done, every adjustment, every cut, every knockdown, leads here. Marquez comes out knowing he needs a big finish. He attacks with both hands, landing jabs, right hands, and uppercuts that snap Pacquiao's head and drive him back. For the first half of the round, it looks like Marquez is simply outworking him. Pacquiao, maybe a bit too calm or maybe being controlled by Marquez's rhythm, doesn't fully explode, but it's Marquez who's consistently pushing and landing the more eye-catching shots. A big right hand knocks Manny backward. An uppercut splits the guard, and the fight exchanging leather in the center of the ring, both men punching to the last second, both convinced they've done enough. When it's over, the scorecards will say split decision for Manny Pacquiao. Truly won Pacquiao. Marquez II will rage just as fiercely as the fight itself.